Alright, so let's start by creating the ocean surface first. So Shift A, add a plane, scale it up and apply scale. Now in modifier, apply the ocean modifier. I'm gonna use 2 tiling, so X and Y 2 and resolution 10. Decrease the size a little bit, and in waves, decrease the scale of the wave about 0.2. Now let's bring it in the center and let's quickly create a material for it. So go to shading. I am using EV and I am using a sky HDRI image. So select our object, click on new. Let's give it a darker color like this. Increase the specular, decrease the roughness, and also increase the transmission. So here it is. Now this ocean surface will also act as our surface to draw curves. Okay, now let's create the island. So for that I'll use a Bezier curve. So Shift A, curve, add a Bezier. Now in the geometry node window, click on new. Control right click to cut this. And now let's draw the curve first so that we'll see the output. So go to edit mode, 1A and X to delete all the vertices. And click on the draw tool and in here select surface. So now you will draw on this surface. So let's draw. Okay, here it is. Now keeping this selected, in the geometry node add a fill curve node and we'll fill this curve. So I'll just plug the geometry and I'll select n-gons for this for now, and let's see the output geometry. So here it is, and before filling we can also resample it. So let's add a resample curve, increase the count. Okay, let's quickly give this island a material. So I'll use Blender Kit for that. It's an add-on, you can use it for different materials and models. So in here, if you search for sand, you get all these materials. You can just drag it on top of your surface. So here I have this material, F-Sand1, and to apply it to our curve, we need to add a material node. So set material, and in here select sand. Okay, now I'll add a geometry on the side of this. So for that I need a curve line. So add a curve line and add another curve to mesh node. Now our resample curve output will go to curve and this curve line will go to profile, and I'm gonna add a join geometry node and join both of these, and this set material I'll use after this so that it will work for both. Now to see it properly, I'll just hide the ocean for now. Now you can create the shape. So let's put Z to 0 and we want it to be in Y direction. So something like this. And to increase it in the X direction overall, I'll just increase this X value. Something like this. Now you can see this is giving us a gap here, and it is doing that because of the tangency of the points of the curves. So these curves. So what I'll do is I'll just convert the outer face, the outer edges to curve once again, and then apply this curve line. So let me show you. I'll just add a mesh to curve once again. I'll plug it, this output mesh here, and then this curve will go to curve to mesh. So now it starts from the edge itself. Okay, now let's show the ocean, and you can see it is a little bit downwards, so let's bring it up. So after this set material, I'll use the transform and just bring it up in Z, something like this, maybe 0.5. Okay, now let's add some rocks on side of this island. So I'm gonna use these old low poly rocks from my previous project, and I have created them in a separate collection. So this rock collection, let's drag it inside our node editor, and now just quickly add two nodes. One is the distribute, point on faces, and second one is the instance on points. Let's plug the side face. So if I go to solid view, this face, and this is this curve to mesh, so I'll plug it into mesh, points to points, and this geometry to instance. Click on these two and pick instance, and again join geometry and add the output here. So here are the rocks. Now let's tackle the density. So I'll just decrease the density from here, maybe about 1.5, and also I'm gonna use a random value, and in random value we can use boolean and plug this value to selection, so it gives a random instancing. So if I decrease it, you can see I can also change the seed from here. I can randomize the rotation of these rocks as well. So I'll just duplicate this random value again, and this time use vector x and y, put the maximum value 0 because I don't want x and y to rotate. Plug it here and change the z value. It gives it a random rotation. We can use it in scale as well. And now let's add quickly some grass over it. So again, for grass I'm using these patches. These are some quickly painted low poly grass and a small flower, and I have again created it, put it in a collection. So let's drag this collection here, hide it, and for this grass collection I'll use the top face. So I'll duplicate these two. This time I'll plug this grass, and I'll plug this main fill curve node from here. Now let's join it. So here it is, and again I'll just randomize the rotation. So I'll plug this same value here, and you can see this grass is actually growing from the basic position of the curve. So we'll add this transform as well. So shift D, plug it here. So now they are on same face. However, I'm going to use a proximity node of the trees to control this grass. So let's leave it like this for now and let's create the tree. Alright, so to create the tree, it's gonna be the similar method that I have used previously. So Shift A, add a bezier, click on new. Let's cut this and quickly add a curve to mesh. And a curve circle. Decrease the resolution and also the radius. Let's resample the original curve. Plug the geometry, increase the count maybe. Plug it into curve and the circle to profile and the mesh to output. So here it is. Again 1AX vertices and let's draw upside. Now let's tackle the radius. So I'll use the curve radius, set curve radius and plug it in between here. Now to change this radius, again I'll use the curve parameter with a color ramp. Plug the color to radius. Invert it and just set the color as you like. Okay, so I have created a simple material for this trunk in Blender itself. So if I show you, I have used this Voronoi texture with object mapping and squeezed it in Z, and with a color ramp output I have plugged it with simple principal BSDF and added a noise on top of this. Okay, so now to distribute the leaves on top of this, I need another geometry. So I'll add an icosphere. So search for sphere and icosphere. Let's add another instance on point nodes. I'll plug the resampled curve here and this icosphere into instance. And let's join the output geometry. So here is the icosphere and I want it on the top only. So I'll use the endpoint node, plug it into selection, and for the start I'll plug 0. So I have it on the top only. Let's increase the subdivision and decrease the radius. I'll give it the same material, so I'll just alt drag it from here and plug it in between here. Alright, so for the palm leaf, I just painted this one leaf quickly, and then with the help of hue and saturation, I created 3 variations out of this. So one in between, one darker and one lighter color, and just import it as a plane in Blender, and here I just cut it out and just bend it according to the shape and create multiple versions out of this. And then I just put all these into one leaves collection, and we'll use this leaves collection in our geometry node. So let's just drag it inside here, and I'm gonna use this icosphere. So again I'll just duplicate this and add a distribute point on face. So this instance will go to the mesh and points to points. This leaf geometry will go to instance. Check these two and also pick instance. And now again, if I join it, so Shift D to duplicate, you can see all these leaves here. Alright, now let's tackle the rotation of these. So again, I'll use the Euler, rotate Euler, and I'll just plug the output rotation from distribute to rotation and output from Euler to the rotation of instance. So here it is. Now set it to local and start rotating the X, Y and Z. So let's rotate the X first, and I don't want Y, and Z somewhere like this. So here it is. We can increase the density. Okay, so now let's remove these overlapping leaves from the bottom, and for that I'll use the normal. So again, search for normal, and I'm gonna check the Z normal of the icosphere. So I need two nodes, separate XYZ and then combine XYZ. So I'll just separate it and take this Z value and plug a math node. So let's plug the Z here, check it for greater than, plug the output to Z again, and this output to the selection of distribute. So now I can just remove with this threshold value. So I'll just, if I go to negative, let me show you from here. So I can set it as I want. Okay, so now that we have our tree, now let's go back to the island again and let's control it with the proximity of this tree. So here is the distribute point node for the grass. I'll just drag the tree object in here and let's add a proximity node. And now I'll just use a separate node, so separate components. I'll plug the geometry into geometry of this separate. So this will give me only the mesh. So I'll plug the mesh to the target, and now to enhance the geometry proximity, I need a map range node. Let's plug the distance to value, and the result of the map range I'll plug to the selection. So to work it better, we need to subdivide the mesh. So let's subdivide. Give it a 3 or 4 resolution, and now if you play with this minimum and maximum value, you can get these results. Alright, so this is how I have created this simple scene, and I have added this sunlight and used the bloom and ambient occlusion to create this type of effect. Now again, this is all procedural and you can just draw whatever shape you want. So just keep in mind, when you are drawing the tree, keep this draw to cursor. So you draw this as per cursor, and when you are drawing this island, you keep it on the surface. So if I just delete it, so that it is always on this ocean surface. And as always, this file is available to download. I'll put the link in the description, and thank you so much. I'll meet you in the next video. Bye bye.